Tell us the figure again.
14,460,000,000.
Is it for houses, for cars, or for jewelry?
No, for jewelry.
Alison-Madueke appeared at the Central London Police Station.
I authorised it. I authorised the rest of it.
Threatened that if I don't leave that story, it's going to be eliminated.
I can't remember if there's ever been a Nigerian woman as powerful as she was.
Buying a yacht with the money of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and be riding it around and renting it out to Jay-Z and his wife, Beyonce. I think that one is more brazen.
She has corruption in her system.
There are many political legends in Nigeria, and while many of them achieved the status through revolutionary movements or activism, Diezani stands out, being the only lady to attain this status by robbing the country in broad daylight. In this video, we explore the life and times of this once powerful Nigerian woman, a woman who was given the keys to the crude oil coffers, and instead of using them to save the country or her state, instead she plunged the economy further into debt and despair.
To see 1,000 a day, I know what my eye see. Talk less one woman like me, chop billion, make it put her for prison, life jail, straight.
This is the story of Diezani Madueke, the former petroleum minister of Nigeria, and the missing $20 billion that the Nigerian government has been hunting for since her retirement. Childhood and background. Born in Port Harcourt, Rivers State in 1960, Diezani Alison-Madueke was a middle child of 3 children. Her father is Chief Frederick Abiye Agama and Beatrice Agama, her mother. The former politician is an Ijaw princess. Education. After beginning her schooling at Shell Camp Warri, Diezani went on to one of Delta State's oldest and most esteemed institutions, Hussey Model School. From Township School in Port Harcourt in 1968, she continued her education at Holy Rosary Government Girls Secondary School in 1975. Upon completing her A-levels at Adamawa State's Federal School of Arts and Sciences, she relocated to the UK in 1977 to pursue an architecture degree, which she never finished. Rather, she enrolled in Howard University in the US and earned a bachelor's degree in architecture in 1992. In 1999, she married retired Admiral Alison-Madueke, a once Chief of Naval Staff and also the former governor of Imo and Anambra states at various times. In 2002, Diezani Alison-Madueke received a Chevening Scholarship to study for a master's degree in business administration at Cambridge Judge Business School, graduating in 2003. Rising career. After completing her studies, the former minister returned to Nigeria to join Shell Petroleum Development Corporation in Lagos as an architectural consultant. She rose through the ranks at Shell Nigeria and was appointed head of Corporate Issues and Crisis Management Unit in 1997. After completing her master's degree, she became the firm's lead joint ventures representation advisor. 2006 saw her appointed as Shell's first woman executive director in Nigeria. On 26 July 2007, she was appointed the Federal Minister of Transportation by former President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. She was in office from July 2007 to December 2008 when Umaru Musa Yar'Adua appointed her the Federal Minister of Mines and Steel Development, a position she held until March 2010 when Musa Mohammed Sada succeeded her. In April 2010, she was appointed Federal Minister of Petroleum Resources by President Goodluck Jonathan, the position that would reveal all of her shady dealings, a position she would hold for 5 years. In November of 2014, she was appointed president of OPEC, the first female president, a position she held until December 2015. She then obtained an appointment from the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica as a Trade and Investment Commissioner after leaving public office in Nigeria, during which she became a citizen of Dominica. If this is all we know of her, it would be fair to say the lady achieved a lot globally and attained not only global acclaim, both international legendary status, but unfortunately her story doesn't end here, nor did it start here, for that matter. Long before her stamp in the oil and gas sector, Mrs. Madueke, operating as the Minister of Transportation, was indicted by the Senate in October 2009 and was recommended for prosecution for transferring 1.2 billion naira into the private account of a toll company without due process and in breach of concession agreement. No legal or punitive action was carried out in response to this indictment. Now, if the Nigerian legal system functioned as it ought, then this would be reason enough for her not to be appointed as the Minister of Petroleum. However, In 2011, during her tenure as Petroleum Resources Minister under President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, Ms. Madueke was implicated in the alleged mismanagement of oil subsidy funds. During Jonathan's tenure, it was reported that dubious oil marketers stole trillions of naira in oil subsidy money. Investigations made by independent audit firms in 2012 to 2013, including KPMG and PricewaterhouseCoopers, revealed that billions of dollars in oil revenue were unaccounted for. The exact amount is disputed, with estimates ranging from $10 billion to $20 billion. Former President Jonathan denied any allegations of corruption, including the claim that almost $50 billion, a figure later reduced to $20 billion, in oil revenue was missing during his administration in 2013. He attributed the discrepancy to an unreconciled difference between oil revenue and remittances made by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to the Central Bank of Nigeria. On September 25, 2013, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, the then governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, had written a letter to President Goodluck Jonathan, alleging that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation had failed to remit $49.8 billion in oil revenue to the government. However, after further investigation, Sanusi reduced the amount to $20 billion. Diezani was accused by Sanusi of being involved in the scandal, but she denied the allegations, stating that Sanusi's accusations were false. She also suggested that Sanusi's allegations were motivated by his own aspirations to become the president of the African Development Bank, which he claimed were frustrated by former President Goodluck Jonathan's men. These three, President Goodluck Jonathan, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, and Ms. Alison-Madueke, kept pointing fingers at each other and attacking each other during the height of the scandal that every news headline was covered with the allegations, and multiple investigations were launched to get to the bottom of the scandal. The implications of the allegations on Diezani were severe. She faced intense scrutiny and criticism from the public and the media. However, she was not sent to criminal court. Instead, she was investigated by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nigeria's anti-corruption agency. In response to the allegations, the Nigerian government set up a committee to investigate the claims. The committee's report found that there were discrepancies in the NNPC's accounting, but it did not find any evidence of theft or corruption by Diezani. In 2016, Bastian Obermeier, a German investigative journalist, along with Friedrich Obermeier, another German journalist, received a massive leak of documents from an anonymous source. The leak, known as the Panama Papers, revealed widespread tax evasion, money laundering, and other illicit activities by global leaders, politicians, and business people. The Panama Papers leak exposed the involvement of Diezani Alison-Madueke in corrupt dealings. According to the leaked documents, Diezani was linked to several offshore shell companies, which were allegedly used to launder millions of dollars in bribes and other illicit funds. The leak also revealed that Mossack Fonseca had created complex networks of shell companies and bank accounts to help clients, including Diezani, conceal their assets and identities. The law firm's services included creating fake ownership structures, backdating documents, and providing nominees to sign documents on behalf of the real owners. The Nigerian government initially responded to the Panama Papers scandal with silence, with no official statement or comment from the presidency or the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. However, in the face of mounting public pressure and criticism, the government eventually responded by promising to investigate the allegations against Diezani. She was further implicated through the Panama Papers in a series of corruption scandals involving two oil moguls and businessmen known as Kola Aluko and Jide Omokore. Both men were accused of using their connections to Mrs. Alison-Madueke to secure lucrative contracts with the NNPC, which they then used to siphon millions of dollars. A glaring example of this corruption was the case of this luxury yacht, the Galactica Star, an $80 million luxury yacht that was reportedly owned by Aluko. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, this yacht that was once chartered by Beyoncé and Jay-Z cost $900,000 a week. Despite the allegations heaped on her, Ms. Alison-Madueke has been able to evade detention from the Nigerian Law Enforcement Agency or any global agencies for that matter. Her position as the petroleum minister ended in May of 2015, but she couldn't just leave office while remaining in Nigeria. Since the tensions were heating up in Nigeria, as part of a move to secure immunity from prosecution after her transition from office, she had lobbied and secured a citizenship of the Commonwealth of Dominican Republic and was subsequently appointed as a trade and investment commissioner in that country. To show that the appointment and offer of citizenship were not accidental, Diezani's offer and acceptance were completed a few days before she left office in June of 2015, barely 2 days before the expiration of her tenure in Nigeria. The offer also entailed the issuance of a diplomatic passport on May 21, 2015, with an expiry date of May 20, 2020. After leaving office, Ms. Diezani flew to the UK to dodge the local accusation in Nigeria, but she was arrested and charged with bribery and corruption offences by the United Kingdom's National Crime Agency while in London that October. But the charges didn't stick because she was later released on bail after handing over her passport to the authorities, as they considered her a flight risk. Even after the expiration of the diplomatic passport, she was said to be immune from arrest and prosecution by any law enforcement agency, including the Interpol. The immunity order says, "The President of the Commonwealth of Dominica requests and requires in the name of the Government of Dominica all those whom it may concern to allow the bearer to pass freely without let or hindrance and afford the bearer such assistance and protection as may be necessary." It's worth noting that although diplomatic immunity offers certain protections to diplomats and their families under the international law established by the Vienna Convention on Diplomats' Regulations in 1961, it is not absolute and does not prevent accountability, particularly in serious cases. Hence, her arrest in the UK. But the question is, though, why did she remain free? Who was she dealing with on international levels that were responsible for covering her butt? And where did all that money go? Clearly, there were multiple players in the field because all $20 billion didn't just go to her. There must have been tens, if not hundreds of people involved on such a large-scale financial fraud that, though she seemed to be the front man, no one was sent behind bars even until today. Andy Kelly from the NCA's International Corruption Unit said in a statement that these charges were a milestone in what has been a thorough and complex international investigation. The NCA affirmed that Ms. Alison-Madueke is alleged to have benefited from at least £100,000 in cash, chauffeur-driven cars, flights on private jets, luxury family holidays, use of multiple London properties, furniture, renovation work and staff for the properties, gifts from designer shops such as Cartier jewelry and Louis Vuitton goods, among so many other lavish luxury spending. In 2017, in response to the long-brewing charges on the Panama Papers, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission set out on an investigation of Ms. Madueke and her alleged associates. The agency seized several properties and assets allegedly linked to Diezani, including a 15-story building in Banana Island comprising 18 flats and penthouses, valued at $37.5 million, a block of 6 unit serviced apartments at Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, bought for 800 million naira, properties in Yaba that include a 21 mixed housing units of 8 4-bedroom apartments, 2 penthouse apartments of 3 bedrooms each, and 6 3-bedroom, all-ensuite terrace apartments, 2 ensuite 2-bedroom apartments and 1 4-bedroom apartment, a twin 4-bedroom duplex in Lekki Phase 1, Lagos, with an estimated value of over 200 million naira, a large expanse of land at Oniru, Victoria Island, Lagos, bought for 135 million naira, a penthouse on the 11th floor in the Block B wing of a building on Plot 8, Gerrard Road, Ikoyi, Lagos, bought for 12 million naira. In 2017, the Nigerian Federal Court also ordered the seizure of $21 million in bank accounts linked to Mrs. Alison-Madueke, and then the U.S. Justice Kleptocracy team seized $145 million worth of assets that had been purchased for the benefits of the former minister, including an apartment worth $50 million in New York, properties in California, and the $80 million yacht called Galactica Star. 3 years later, when we thought the situation had died down, the global political scandal that shook the world, known as the Pandora Papers leaks of 2021, a much larger and scandalous leak than the Panama Papers, revealed even more about Mrs. Madueke. The Pandora Papers provided evidence where she accepted gifts and properties worth $17 million from oil businessmen Olajide Omokore and Kolawole Akani Aluko in exchange for lucrative oil contracts. But in spite of these allegations, Mrs. Madueke has consistently maintained her innocence, and her case remains ongoing in several countries. Where is she now? Although Ms. Diezani Alison-Madueke is currently being investigated for money laundering in the UK, the former EFCC chairman Mr. Mabu faulted the UK government for not doing enough to bring the former petroleum minister to justice, despite his vowing to bring her back to the country to answer to her crimes. However, the chairman was not the only one who tried and failed. Assistant Inspector General of Police Garuba Baba Umar and the head of National Central Bureau of the International Criminal Police Organization known as Interpol disclosed that the United Kingdom government turned down his request to extradite Alison-Madueke, and we can only wonder why. As the Panama Papers scandal continues to reverberate around the world, some of its successful effect was the closure of Mossack Fonseca in 2018, the law firm that was at the center of the leak, but not the lady in the front of the Nigerian oil scandal. That lady still roams free with her new citizenship, while Nigeria is still struggling to maintain its balance after such financial loss. And that's all the investigation from us here at NatTV. What accounts do you think we misrepresented? And what others do you think we forgot to cover? Please leave your comments below. And before you leave, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Bye.